We have our own private beach right now. Nobody but me and Dave. Private beach.
Is that over there?
Nobody in the water. What's this over here? Bora Bora. Own private beach. Bala!
Private beach.
Private beach.
View of Bora Bora.
View of Bora Bora.
So here's our little private beach. Yeah, it's man-made. If you know anything about the geography of French Polynesia, these islands are volcanic in nature with a coral uh, barrier to them, and they don't really have natural beaches per se. There's some beaches out on some of the Mutus and some of the resorts, but for the most part, not a lot of beach on the main island. This was our Airbnb. Real nice place to stay. It's on the western side of the island. We had beautiful sunsets with Bora Bora in the background. You can see the coral heads come up pretty close to the surface. So you had to follow, there was some little channels that we could follow to get out when we took the kayaks out or went out swimming. And we saw marine life all the way up to the beach. Matter of fact, while we were sitting on the beach, we could see sharks and stingrays. And we'd sit there and watch the occasional sailboat sail past, reminding us of what's in store in our future. We stayed on Taha'a for about 4 days before we went sailing, and it gave us a good chance to explore the island. On the leeward side here, winds were coming from the east. We get a little orographic lifting over the mountain, and rain showers pretty much all day long, but very intermittent. We really enjoyed our time there. Only 4,600 people on the island. Very friendly people. No hotels. Only 3 restaurants, and they're kind of spread out. So we were lucky to have one within walking distance. So she can't find her glasses. We rode a mile back, and this was the area where she dressed her wounds. Now I'm gonna have to revisit the crash site, which is up that hill. Getting around Taha'a on the e-bikes was relatively easy. It's 60 kilometers around the island, and we did this whole circumference in one day. Most of the roads follow the coastline, which means they're at sea level and they're flat. However, it's not uncommon in French Polynesia to see a 30% grade. That's right, 30% grade up a hill, and this is one of them. Even with the electric assist, this was a challenge getting back up to the top. And the reason why she had her spill is because the periods of rain, even though we're in the dry season, and you can see right now the sky is a nice clear sky, blue sky, but every so often you'll get these periods of rain, and here she is. This is the downside coming back down, and you can see with just a little bit of water, the speed gets up there, and you got a little bit of water. It was easy for her to get out of control. Here's where she went off, and she was lucky because it's the only place she could have gone off that didn't result in catastrophic injury. This drainage ditch that runs the entire length of the road is about 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep. And she was able to stop here around this tree, and just beyond that tree is a cliff basically, so she was fortunate there too. Here's the back view of it. You can see that adding a little moisture and the type of speed you would pick up coming down a incline like this, it can be treacherous, so you need to be careful while you're out there riding. Taha'a is known as the Vanilla Island. Here we visit an authentic vanilla farm. Here they grow trees, then cut them off at post height for the vanilla to grow up, which is actually an orchid. They use coconut husks as mulch underneath the trees to keep the orchids moist, and they retain the natural canopy of the trees around it to provide shade. Later we'll show you a commercial vanilla farm that use shade cloth and more industrial means. To get back to the west side of the island, as we circumnavigated it on e-bikes, we had to cross over the center, and it included climbing up to this high point, and here is the descent back down. You can see the road's wet, makes it a little treacherous. There's a little mist in the air at this higher altitude. As the moist air comes off the Pacific, it's rising because the wind's blowing it up, so it's a constant clouds and showers just passing over, just nonstop. Always have a rain jacket handy. The other thing you'll notice is how lush it is in here. Very sparsely populated. Most of the population's living down on the coast, and the center of the island is pretty much just empty. But it's beautiful in its own way. We had some nice vistas while we were up there, and it was real exciting on the downhill. Time for one more sunset before we leave Taha'a, but don't worry, we'll be back in the next episode because our first destination on the sailboat is, guess, Taha'a. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.